State your name and
Alan Gardner, Washington County Commissioner. I'd like to thank you for being here today. We appreciate the support that we get from the state. I maybe bring up just a little bit of a different twist. As most of you are probably aware, Washington County has tried to be proactive on a lot of these issues. We were successful here 3 or 4 years ago in getting a land bill passed in Congress that was hopefully going to resolve the issues that we had, patterned a lot after some of the bills that Senator Reid had passed in Nevada. One of those issues that we hoped to resolve was wilderness, and we did. We had initially in BLM's plan, we had 90-something thousand acres that was wilderness study area, about 60,000 acres that was recommended to become wilderness. I think in our bill we ended up with about, I want to say 120, 25, something like 30,000 acres of wilderness, about twice the recommended amount. So we felt like we went overboard trying to meet that. But along with our bill, there's a planning process to put the management of the NCAs in place and other things. But now we're looking, instead of wilderness, we're looking at additional ACECs, or areas of critical environmental concern, which to us is just another a backdoor way of making more wilderness. So, you know, issues that we thought we were resolving, it doesn't look like they're going to be resolved. BLM is just, we're supposed to be able to look at the first draft of their plan here in the next week or two. And we really have been involved a little bit in the planning, but not nearly as much as we expected to be and thought we should be. So we're going to be really curious to see what some of those ACEC areas actually look like when we get down to see the actual plan. Another area has been road closures. We've seen a lot of road closures issued by the Forest Service. And as they started that process, said, well, we went through our plan here 2 or 3 years ago, and the county was involved, and we have a new ranger now, and he says it's my understanding that the commission agreed to all of these closures, and that was news to us. So we've had issues there with the Forest Service, also BLM now, and going through their planning process. We're just seeing some of the roads that they're proposing to close, and we initially had work agreements with them that we didn't think we were going to be seeing nearly the amount that they're proposing. We suspected there'd be a few, and some of these are RS 2477 roads that we're involved with the state on a lawsuit on. Another issue that's just arisen in the last few months is with the Forest Service, the Dixie, the Manti LaSalle, and the Fish Lake, through pressure from some of the environmental community, are undertaking surveys or redoing studies to determine the impact in riparian areas as they relate to grazing. And they've started this process without the involvement of the counties or anybody at all. And so we're going through that issue with them right now. But this, you know, it's just a continual bite at the apple, taking one thing after another. I know in the Pine Valley district, our grazing permits there now are over half, or less than half what they used to be. And as a former permittee there, I know we were cut 2 or 3 times on our permit. Now this is going to just give them another shot at trying to cut grazing permits. And that's, I guess, kind of in a nutshell, just a few of the issues that we have in our county. You know, one, Congressman Bishop addressed this just prior to your arrival, and one thing that I found very interesting in his comments, we asked him about some of his plans for the future if he was able to be the chairman Natural Resources Committee, and one thing that he said that he wanted to establish a number of, he called them working groups, but one of the working groups that he hoped to establish was one that would look at the enabling acts of the states and how they've been implemented and what needs to be happening to implement others. And I thought that was something that was very positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gardner. A couple of follow-up questions, if I may. 4 years ago, you negotiated in good faith and passed the land bill, correct?
Yes.
Part of the incentive to pass that land bill was agreeing to 130,000 acres of wilderness, correct?
That much, it wasn't the incentive to get that much, but that's about what we did.
But you
Yeah.
ended up
Yeah.
from studies and so on, switched over to wilderness, correct?
Yeah. There was at least that
Did you feel
much.
at that time, based upon that bill, that would improve your health and condition of your public lands?
No.
What I want to ask you, did it?
No, I didn't feel that was going to improve the health.
That part of it, was it the intent to improve the lands, productivity of lands, the access to public lands? Why did you do that?
Well, the wilderness, the intent there was to get over the fight and resolve the wilderness issue so we could move on and not have to continue to have a disagreement with that, but hadn't really solved it.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just want to get it on record on what you're saying. So would you say that the legislation, the intent, and your intent in trying to work through and come to a settlement was successful or unsuccessful?
In the long run, I think it's been unsuccessful. We thought it was successful when we first passed the bill, but we still had the issues. I might mention too that 2 weeks after our bill was signed, the Red Rock bill was reintroduced in Congress, and SUA has about half of our county identified as potential wilderness, and there were no changes made. It was over 2 years before Washington County was even ever deleted off of that Red Rock bill. So there was still a bill in Congress to go ahead and put a whole much more wilderness on top of us, even though that our bill had already been signed and
So it
agreed to.
didn't accomplish what we hoped.
It didn't, no.
Do you have any advice to the counties that are working with the Public Lands Initiative, Congressman Bishop?
I'd just say make sure, you need solid release language. We've got a whole bunch of squishy language in ours that you can do this and you can do that, but it's up to the secretary. So that gives them a whole lot of outs. Okay, Kenneth.
Thank you, Commissioner. Kind of like what Chairman Stratton was saying, it sounded like what you were trying to get to was to buy certainty that you could then go and manage your county, and then you went and described a whole bunch of areas where that just isn't happening. I guess my question for you is this lack of certainty or the continued uncertainty, not knowing what's happening from one day to the next in grazing, in the studies on the continual federal control over the forests, the wilderness, the ACECs that just keep advancing, road closures that continue to happen. What is that continued era of uncertainty costing you as a county in terms of access, health, productivity, being able to move forward and govern your county?
Well, we're still pushing forward trying to accomplish all of those items, but it's still uncertain out there, and we hope to have some certainty. Grazing, particularly in our national conservation area, in one of them, grazing was definitely supposed to remain one of the uses. And one of the problems we had our BLM manager that we worked really well with retired, and we got a whole lot of new personnel in there that that weren't there for the discussions prior to that bill, and so some of them have a totally different philosophy. So that's one of the things we're looking at there now, is they're trying to cut or eliminate grazing down in part of the tortoise habitat.
I'd be interested to know from any and all of you, how much of your time and energy do you spend dealing with trying to sort out, I see Commissioner Massey chuckling here. How much of your time and energy do you spend trying to sort out issues with the federal government, federal control, instead of trying to take care of the people in your county?
I'd say a good half of my time spent there. Thank you.
Thank you.